Shalom. All praises. All praises to the Most High, allowing me to come back once again before you. As usual, I'd already had at least two messages that I prepared to bring to you, but as I'm going through the sealed portion looking for something specifically, I ran across a topic that the Spirit said, stop. So I stopped there, and then the message, and this is the message that I'm going to bring today. Once again, the Spirit wants you to know that we are the true Aboriginal and indigenous people that came from Adam, that the Most High calls Israelites. We are that people. That's why I tell you that I'm an American Israelite. That's not a lie. That's the truth. And I didn't come from Africa. I can prove it to you once again today. And I don't need nobody's approval. I don't go by nobody's likes or they like this comment or they don't like that. Well, that's your business. I'm handling my business for the people's business. Today I'm talking about the people of America, the true Americans, the Israelites. The Most High called us that. So I don't care what you're talking about. Let me start off in this book, the Book of Remembrance of our ancient grandmothers. He said, for those who are faithful, I will give you a book of remembrance, which includes the seal portion in these books here. If you want to tell the truth, you can call this a book of remembrance because it's telling the same truth. Grandmothers, chapter 1, verse 99. And some people, from a religious perspective, no, that's blasphemy, man. That's not a Bible. That's not a word of the Most High. Well, the truth is the truth, no matter what book it's in. If the truth lines up with the scriptures, that's the truth. As a witness. Grandmothers, 1 in 99. And it came to pass as I sat pondering these things, I can see that the children of Yassakad and Kava were the very first indigenous people wherever they spread themselves. And they arrived at their destinations. That's one precept. That's one witness. The Aboriginal indigenous people. Then I'm going to go here. Once again. Seal portion. '81 and 41. But in the beginning, it was not so, and I have shown unto you that the record of my fathers shall come forth unto Joseph. And he shall translate the part which is unsealed and publish it to the world, so that all might know of the work of the Father, which was wrought upon the land of Eden. The work of the Father which was wrought upon the land of Eden, which is this promised land, which is this promised land. There is a promised land in other parts too, but this is the original promised land. That's why I said he's going to allow our people to go back to their lands of promise. But this promised land is where he's going to station himself when he returns. Which was wrought upon the land, and this is the original promised land, which is the promised land which shall be called in the latter days the United States of America. We can prove that this is the original promised land because this is where Adam was not born but created. Another witness. That's two witnesses. And then I'm going to go to this book. And since this devil always wants to play games, and the Most High told me not to be afraid of their faces, but to speak his truth, I showed you, they showed a video the other day that they had a lot of what they call Mexicans. And they said the original Mexicans were Negro. And the fact of the matter is, if we got some Mexicans that are delusional and they want to take themselves out of the promise, which will eventually take them out of the land of promise because they're ashamed of being who they are, if you're ashamed to be associated or be called a Negro, which makes you an Israelite, then I'm sorry for you. You can follow me around all you want and look at me crazy and whatever you want to do. That don't change no fact that the fact of the matter is the original Mexican is the Negro. And if you're a Mexican, no matter what you look like, you are a Negro. And if you claim to be a Spaniard, that means you came over here and you conquered yourself. Because a Spaniard is a European. We started page. Who's gonna start on page? I read the whole book before. I'm gonna start on page 43 though until I get to where I'm going. Under the leadership of Commander Ovanda, who was put in charge while Columbus was in Spain, and then also you quote unquote Negroes who want to be Moors, you are Africans. I'm not saying nothing wrong with being African. I'm not saying nothing wrong with being a Spaniard. I'm just trying to say if you're an American, it matters who you are. Because if you're a quote unquote Negro who say that you are a Moor, M-O-O-R, that means you are African. And you're not an American. See, I wasn't just getting on the Mexicans, I'm getting on the niggas too. Stop being ashamed of who you are. And let the truth of the word and the truth of the knowledge of the word that's bringing to you. Speak the truth to your heart and let you claim who you truly are. Under the leadership of Commander Ovanda, who was put in charge while Columbus was in Spain, 300 soldiers armed with guns, swords, and crossbows, and 70 horsemen in full armor with lances proceeded to Zaragoza under the pretense of collecting their tribute. Anacaona, upon hearing that Ovanda was on his way, summoned her chiefs and subjects to welcome the Spaniards. The biggest mistake they ever made. With the dignity and grace she always exhibited. See, look, this is a image of Anaconda, a Negro woman, Spaniard, I mean, not a Spaniard, but a Mexican, an Israelite, the original Americans. Look at that beautiful, as they say, Negro woman. The original Aboriginal woman. That's you see how beautiful she is. So can you now see how beautiful Eve was? Look at that. You can't deny that's a quote unquote Negro woman. Eve. You're looking at Eve right there. I can prove it to you. I ain't got to be ashamed about what I'm saying. I can't be confounded. You can be mad about it all you want. But the truth is the truth. The truth will make you a liar every time. Stop lying. And 70 horsemen in full armor with lances proceeded to Zaragoza under the pretense of collecting their tribute. And Acadia, upon hearing that Ovanda was on his way, summoned her chiefs and subjects to welcome the Spaniards with the dignity and grace she always exhibited. She entertained them for several days, accommodated them to her best houses, and provided them the best that was available to be bestowed upon them. Still believing that Anaconda was planning a plot against him, Ovanda conceived a counterplot, which on his cue was carried out with vengeance. Ovanda arranged to entertain the people of Zaragoza with the joining skill of his soldiers. And Anaconda and her chiefs were assembled in the house where Ovanda was, staying which looked over the square where the show would take place, while the rest of the people of Zaragoza watched from a short distance. None of the chiefs nor the people of Zaragoza were armed, for the entire visit of the Spaniards was received as friendly visit. Once the horsemen were in place in the square, Ovanda gave the cue. The house where Anaconda and the chiefs were, see, they put it in such a way that you got to know how to read it. They knowing them, they did it for a reason. That's how you know this. There probably was a cue to let you know that you Aboriginal. So they wrote it like in a puzzle. The symbol was immediately surrounded, not allowing anyone to escape. The chiefs were bound and tortured until the Spaniards received a confession from the chiefs that Anaconda was plotting against them. Anaconda was captured and taken away, while the house where the chiefs were bound was set on fire, and all the chiefs, which is said to have been more than 80, perished in the flames. The exhibitions of Zaragoza were then pursued by the horsemen, trampling under hooves and horses and stabbing them with lances.
See, watch how all this fit together. Watch. And I know the quote unquote Mexicans teach their children, from the respectable grandmothers and different ones that call themselves Mexicans, that really are Mexican, teach their children how people came over and did this to them. So how can you disrespect your elders by calling yourself a Spaniard? Watch, what's this? The chiefs were bound and tortured until the Spaniards received a confession from the chiefs. Knowing these people, they probably forced them to make a confession, talking about they was plotting against them. Because they was plotting against them. Why come Anaconda and them didn't have no weapons? And they invited them and gave them the best thing. They treated them with great hospitality. Anaconda was captured and taken away while the house where the chiefs were bound was set on fire, and all the chiefs, which is said to have been more than 80, perished in the flame. The inhabitants of Zaragoza were then pursued by the horsemen, trampling under the hooves of the horses and stabbing them with the lances, swords, and spears of the Spaniards. Now, you call yourself a Spaniard? You ashamed of being who you are, Mexican? You'd rather associate yourself with being a Spaniard than doing all these terrible things to your own people? What kind of Mexican is you? No mercy was shown to age or sex. It was a savage and indiscriminate butchery. Watch this. Watch what the Most High said. Deuteronomy 28 and 50. Verse 49 through 51. The law will bring a nation from afar, from the ends of the earth, to swoop down upon you like an eagle. A nation whose language you will not understand. A ruthless nation. Spaniards. Europeans, Esau, Japhet, a ruthless nation with no respect for the old and no pity for the young. And they will eat the offspring of your livestock and produce of your land until you are destroyed. They will leave you no grain or new wine or oil, no cows of your herds, or lambs of your flock until they have caused you to perish. Anaconda was captured and taken away while the house where the chiefs were bound was set on fire, and all the chiefs, which is said to have more than 80. See, you people got to stop playing games. You playing games with terms, as if the Most High don't know who's who. And if you truly are a Mexican, as he said, the Mexican, which are the original Mexican, is the Negro, and everybody else comes after him. So because if you got hatred in your heart towards the Negro, then that means you hate the Most High because he's a Negro. That's under your terms, called a Negro, but he's an Israelite. So your thoughts are not his thoughts, and your ways are not his ways. So by you being ignorant or either malicious through envy, all you're doing is disqualifying yourself from his salvation. He said, if you be ashamed of me, I'm going to be ashamed of you. So that's what the problem that people have. The problem that people have is that they feel like they can have it their way when it comes to the Most High. Nah, you're going to have it the Most High's way, Or you gonna get out of the way or be put out of the way? Because he's the one called the Almighty. And he don't have to worry about what you think. That goes for the whoever, the quote unquote Mexican or the quote unquote Negro. You're going to do it like the Most High said, or you're going to get put out of the way. So you better claim who you are and be who you are and stop being manipulated by Esau, the Spaniard. And Iconium was captured and taken away while the house where the chiefs were bound was set on fire, and all the chiefs, which is said to have been more than 80, perished in the flames. The inhabitants of Zaragoza were then pursued by the horsemen, trampled them under the hooves of the horses and stabbing them with lances, swords, and spears of the Spaniards. No mercy was shown to the age or sex. It was a savage and indiscriminate butchery. Several who escaped from the massacre fled in their canoes. They were pursued and taken and condemned to slavery. And the corner was taken in chains to St. Domingo, where a mock trial was given, and she was found guilty by the testimonies that were coerced and tortured from her chiefs. See? They forced them to say that. You should know them by their fruit. This got Esau written all over it. She was then hung in front of her survivors. This beautiful woman right here. Her memory is still celebrated today, 5 centuries after her hanging. She is remembered not only as a leader of her people, she is known for the ballads, songs, and poetry she created. An 18th century poet, Alfred Lord Tennyson, even wrote a poem about her, which he never published, given various unconvincing reasons, but perhaps providing the real reason in an unguarded comment described that black bitch and a corner. They blinked out the bitch part, but you know what it was saying. See? Right there. Black bitch. So how is this Mexican woman called a black bitch? He said, Esau, you've made yourself naked through your arrogance, because you put down everything you say, which is a testimony to the truth for us. But perhaps providing the real reason in an unguarded comment describing that black bitch and a corner and her cocoa shadowed coals of niggers, I can't have her strolling about the land in this way. It is neither good for her reputation nor mine. Apparently, writing a positive poem about a black person in the 1800s was taboo. But even more than that, it would reveal that the people of the islands were of a Negroid stock. This the Spaniards rolling in. Spaniards pursuing the inhabitants of the islands. See, they showing even though, look at it, the inhabitants of the islands was darker than the Spaniards. You see that? They captured a inhabitant of the island. See how they made them different? That was quote unquote white people capturing the quote unquote black man. And y'all looking at me like I'm doing something wrong. I'm just giving you history and knowledge, the true history. And you mad at me? Why are you mad at me for exposing the truth? This is the time of the truth to be exposed. How can the kingdom come unless the Most High? He said, the truth shall be your shield and buckler. This is the truth. And people that, the sad part about you being so colonized, people, that you get more matter than me than the Spaniards. Guess why you got to tell the truth? Watch this. And I don't care nothing about your threats, none of that stuff, man. I'm here for a purpose. You're not worthy of salvation if you can't accept the truth. Believe me, I'm not worried about you at all. This is why you got to accept the truth. Because if you still accept a lie, you're not entering into the kingdom. Because you're a living lie. You live in a lie. And watch this. Revelation 21 and 27. 26 and 27. The New Jerusalem. And in the city will be brought glory and the honor of the nations. Everything that is honorable, or the power and all their wealth and everything that they have, going to be brought into us. Not you, because you live in a lie. You want to be them. So you're going to drink the cup with them. But nothing unclean will ever enter it. You're not clean. Because you want to live a lie. Mexican, you want to be a Spaniard, the one that did this to you. You ain't coming to the kingdom. You better repent. Nigga, you better repent. But nothing unclean will ever enter into it, nor anyone who practices an abomination or a lie. Stop practicing an abomination or a lie, you nigga. But only those whose names are written in the book of life. That means you live in the truth now. You got life. The truth shall be your shield and buckler. I'm not here to play games with you. I'm here to bring you life that you might have it more abundantly through the truth. Stop living a lie. But perhaps providing the real reason in an unguarded comment describing that black bitch in a corner and her cocoa shadowed clothes of niggers. I cannot have her strolling about the land in this way. This is your land. Look at the audacity. This is why the Most High gonna kill him. This is your land. They done came over and plotted and took your land, but then they say they can't have you walking around, you black bitch. You niggas. I can't have you walking around this land like that. The audacity on your land. I cannot have her strolling about the land in this way. It is neither good for her reputation nor mine. Apparently, writing a positive poem about a black person in the 1800s was taboo. Even more than that, it would reveal the people of the islands were of a Negroid stock. By the early 1500s, the entire island was paying tribute to the Spaniards. You proud of that, Mexican? And I'm not trying to disrespect you. You my brother and sister. But I'm trying to make it sting so you can say, hey, man, I've been a fool. You sitting around trying to be a people that did this to you and your ancestors. But because they told you you better than the quote-unquote Negro, but yet they still stick you in the niggas and gardens and the Peblos and everything, all the projects together. What is they saying to you? Is you better or you just a nigga? You a project. By the early 1500s, the entire island was paying tribute to the Spaniards. And 4 of the 5 primary chiefs of the island were no longer alive. The last living chief, Cotabanama of Higu, was the only thing that stood in the way of a total domination of the island. You know, California is an island, right? Despite the fact that Cotabama was compliant with the tribute, constructed a peace treaty, allowed the Spaniards to construct a facility in his domain. Even exchanged names with one of the Spaniards, showing his propensity towards peace. The destructive behavior towards the people of the island continued. This is not about making contention. Contention, they already made contention. Why are you walking around pretending like it ain't already done? I'm not causing no problem. They already caused the problem. Why are you bringing it up, man? They're going to do it to you anyway, because that's what they do. You might as well tell the truth. But the Most High said, you shall not be confounded. He's not going to allow them to destroy you. Do you got faith in them or faith in the Most High's power? He said, if you're of the elect, if you're a Zion, you should no longer go into captivity. It's their turn. Why would you drink of their cup when you've already been drinking it? All you got to do is be who you are in the truth. Tell the truth. The inhabitants of Higoi and the entire island over the years had become very cautious and distrustful of the Spaniards' behavior. Hey, Mexican, are you a Spaniard? If you are, no problem. That's who you are. I'm talking to true Mexicans. Are you a Spaniard? That means you a sellout to your ancestors who went through this, and now you're trying to claim to be the oppressor. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And we know you love family. You can't even sleep at night. Sellout. They did this to your family, to your ancestors. And you turn around talking about you a Spaniard. The inhabitants of Higoi and the entire island over the years had become very cautious and distrustful of the Spaniards' behavior and presence on the island. Am I trying to turn you against the Spaniards? No, they already turned you against them when they did this to your ancestors. And they continue to do this. They didn't ever stop. You ain't got to be ashamed about telling the truth about some of their actions. The inhabitants of Higuaí and the entire island over the years have become very cautious and distrustful of the Spaniards' behavior and presence on the island. When the now unwelcome visitors had unjustifiably released a dog on an unsuspecting chief. That's why the gang stalkers walk around with dogs. They still insulting you, but through mental warfare. And some of y'all are real Mexicans and you walking around with dogs disrespecting yourself and your ancestors. Sell out. Now, unwelcome visitors had unjustifiably released a dog on an unsuspecting chief, resulting in the most brutal of deaths. The people retaliated by killing 8 Spaniards. This action of war to be ensued by the Spaniards, which sent the native inhabitants scattering into the mountains for refuge. Remember the scripture said, run to the mountains. That's what Messiah told him. When you see all these things, run to the mountains. See? Jacob's trouble has been happening since 1492. He said, but now your trouble is over, Zion. The women and the children that were found in their hiding places were indiscriminately slaughtered. 600 or 700 people were imprisoned in a dwelling, and all were put to the sword. Hey, Mexican, are you proud of this? Are you proud of being a Spaniard when you're not? I'm not insulting you. I'm trying to tell you to wake up. Those of the inhabitants who were spared were carried off as slaves. Realizing the prowess of the Spaniards and their inability to protect themselves against the weapons of the Spaniards, a treaty was ensued which was to protect the local people on the conditions. And I wasn't trying to go this way, man. This is spirit. On the condition of them cultivating a large tract of land and paying a great quantity of bread in tribute. When this treaty was broken by the Spaniards, another war supervened. Again, many natives fled to the mountains for refuge, and again, they were pursued relentlessly. When they were found, the Spaniards spared neither age nor sex, even pregnant women. You proud of that, Mexican? Claiming to be a Spaniard who did this to people? Your grandmothers, your great ancient people? When they were found, the Spanish spared neither age nor sex, even pregnant women and mothers with infants in their arms fell beneath their merciless swords. They wanted to instigate fear and terror throughout the island. The Spaniards were now in active pursuit of Cochabamba and his chiefs. They even took prisoner of one of his distinguished elderly female chiefs, who was eventually hanged. Cochabamba fled to the small island of Saona, off the southeastern coast of Higuaí, with his wife and children, hiding in the recess of the mountains. After a long pursuit, he eventually captured his wife and children, escaping from their hideout. When hearing the news of Cochabamba, it was then ordered for him to be publicly hanged. See, this is what they do. They hang. This is Roman activity. which was obliged. His death was followed by the complete subjugation of his people and sealed the last struggle of the natives against their oppressors. Are you an oppressor, Mexican? Once again, I'm not disrespecting you. I'm just trying to let you know what side you on. Are you a Spaniard? Or are you a Mexican? Which make you a Negro. The island was almost unpeopled of its original inhabitants. And meek and mournful, he's basically telling you the sealed portion, chapter 79 right here. The island was almost unpeopled of its original inhabitants. And meek and mournful submission and despair settled upon the scanty remnant that survived. The header reads, they seem to show up in the slave market as Negroes. Over the course of Columbus' 4 journeys to the newly found territory, a once populous island that was rich with natural beauty and resources was now virtually depopulated. Some managed to escape by boats to the surrounding islands, and I'm sure because of it, its close proximity to the mainland United States, those inhabitants who remained were doomed to a life of deplorable slavery, where there was no escape or hope for the future. By the early 1500s, the demographics of the island was changing, and the need for slaves was increasing in part because of the depopulation of Hispaniola. Who's right now talking about they got a depopulation plan? Esau. Who they trying to depopulate? Hispaniola, called Negroes, who the Most High calls Israelites. But you wouldn't listen. You would not. But also because of the Europeans were venturing to other parts of the Americas and setting up settlements. He just called it what it was for what. He said Spaniards earlier, but he just said, I told you now, Europeans. Am I preaching hate or am I reading to you? Europeans were venturing to other parts of the Americas and setting up settlements. The workers for these settlements became the indigenous people. And over time, slave raiding, kidnapping became the standard to obtain these workers. After 1510, Spanish slave raiding reached out increasingly towards the outer islands of the Caribbean and the adjacent mainlands. Much of the raiding was designed to meet the labor needs of Haiti, where the native population was being greatly reduced. But numerous Spanish expeditions captured Native Americans who were taken to Spain. So you know I'm going to have to add this, the Roman Catholic Pope's confession that after the 400 years that we're free now. I'm going to have to add that to the comment section because it goes right along with it. And all things have been returned back to us, like the Most High said it would be. But Mexican, you can be a Spaniard. You ain't got to take in part of the kingdom with us. Go to the people that don't love you. They're gonna kill you anyway. That's what they're gonna do to you because you're not them. Mexican. But numerous Spanish expeditions captured Native Americans who were taken to Spain. The 1520 slave raiding in Florida and the Carolina coast areas was common also. Dark-skinned people of the Americas. In any case, between the years of 1492 and 1501, at least 3,000 Native Americans were known to be shipped to Europe, with the likely total being possibly double that. Most were sent to the Seville area, where they seemed to show up in the slave market as Negroes. What most people don't realize is Negro was a terminology that was used to describe the indigenous people of the Americas. Third witness. Okay, did that. Now we're going to the sealed portion. The Northern Kingdom's information to give us more insight into what he was talking about. Like I showed you in that scripture, where he said they would have they would have no heart towards the old, the young, the child. That already happened. That was the Jacob's trouble. But this Northern Kingdom information is giving you more insight to who we were talking about. See, the doctrine of religion or fairy tale got you believing something happened way over there to somebody else. No, it was you, Nick. The sealed portion, chapter 22, verse 23. Many of the children of Adam rebel against his counsel, just like many of y'all are rebelling right now. Who this nigga think he talking to? I'm talking to you, Nick. Mexican, talking to you. To save you. He said, I can't save you if you don't want to be saved. Many of the children of Adam rebel against his counsel. Adam is commanded to leave the land of Eden in North America and travel to the continent of Africa. See how they told you everything backwards? Many of the children of Adam rebel against his counsel. Adam is commanded to leave the land of Eden in North America and travel to the continent of Africa. His children divide themselves and spread throughout the land. Those who remain in the land of Eden destroy themselves. Moroni explains why the history of the world is important. That's why I gave it to you like I gave it to you. Here's some more. Verse 1. And it came to pass that after Adam had spoken unto his children in Adamah, he caused to be written all those things which he had said. And when these things had been written according to his commandment, he sent them into all parts of the land and to all of his posterity. Now we know that these are indigenous people, because I read about it in the Book of Remembrance of our ancient grandmothers, chapter 1, verse 99. These are the ones they call today through slang niggas and Mexicans. Who the Most High say we are Israelites, a royal people. But you don't want to listen to the royal people part. You want to be a nigga and a Mexican. You want to worship Mary and idolatry, idols. Now there is a true Mary. She's an Israelite woman. called Marahela. But the Mary you worship is an idol created by Esau. I know you're mad at me right now, but so what? You need it. You need to be told the truth. And it came to pass that after Adam had spoken unto his children at Adamah, here's another thing. You think I'm going against your race because I'm saying something about Mary. No, Nick, Mexican. I'm telling you your true race. You're an Israelite. You are royal people. And that's another lie of the devil to get you associated. You associating idols with your race. And if you keep on doing that, the Most High gonna kill you. Because all idol worshipers, he gonna destroy. That's why I got to give it to you plain. You associating your race with idols. See the trick of the devil when he pulled on you. I was at the burrito store the other day, and I told the lady she was an Israelite. Respectfully though, but because she thinks that I'm called, since I said she's an Israelite, she associating herself with idol worship of Mary, which is not the true Mary, and she got offended. And then she talking about, well, we believe God too. I said, well, we just call him something else. I said, well, whatever you call him, he's still the God of Israel, if that's the God you're talking about. She got offended. She thought I was insulting her. I said, man, I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. And then I said, ma'am, y'all not gonna poison me, are you? Because people have been poisoning me. By the grace of the Most High, I'm still here. And she said, well, you shouldn't say that to people that's faking your food. I said, what's the worst thing to do? If you're gonna poison me, at least I get the right to ask you if you're gonna poison me. Because if you're gonna poison me one way or the other, what's worse, asking if you're gonna poison me or you poisoning me? That's why I'd rather just ask. Because you got any kind of conscience in you, if I ask, that might take away the intention of poisoning me. If you got any righteousness in you. I know they're trying to make me do this to him, but I'm righteous. I'm not gonna do it to him. If I don't say nothing, then you might go on and carry it out. And it came to pass that after Adam had spoken unto his children at Adamah, he caused to be written all those things which he had said. And when these things had been written according to his commandments, he sent them into all parts of the land and to all his posterity. And he gave special instructions to those who carried those words forth, even that they should go in amongst the children of Cain and the descendants of Pallid and give unto them the commandments of the law. See, that's why I tell Esau what he got to do if you want to survive. He said, you got to get back 4 times what you're taking. And you got to stop being a devil. And you got to come and learn of him. Or else he's going to kill you. So I told you. I might not say it in a manner that sounds like a Christian telling you, but I ain't sent to sugarcoat it. I just bring you the message so you can really know what he said. So you don't need to have nobody interpret it. Because sometimes when people try to interpret what the Most High say without what he's really saying, they change the message to now you can come in among us and you can come to become the preacher, and then all of a sudden if we do that, then what's gonna happen? Your nature is gonna take over, and then you're gonna be subjugating again. That's what you do. That's why the Most High didn't tell me to tell you like that. He was trying to tell me, he said, you're gonna do it else. Because he don't tell you like that. Esau's nature is to come in and kill, steal, and destroy. You're going to do that. That's what you are. But when the Most High let you know plainly what he said, you're going to give my people what they want, need. You're going to help them do that forever. Or if not, I'm going to kill you. That's the message to you, Esau, today. He already know your nature. You don't change. Go read Ezekiel 35 and Obadiah. See, when you got to say that is because it's time for the scripture to be fulfilled where Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the world that follows. So, but if you allow Esau, the ones that's supposed to serve us, come in and don't give them the plainness of what he gonna do, what happened in the new kingdom? Esau will be reigning again. Because he's a snake, he's a devil. That's why the Most High the Most High don't threaten people. He keeps promises. He gonna kill you if you don't do what he said. That goes for Israel too. I'm looking for something. Just bear with me for a few minutes. If I don't find it, I'll move on. But I'm looking for something that will add to the message. Come on now. I know it's here. Read it all the time. That's one thing about this sealed portion, though. It's written in such a way that there's so much information in it, you got to look something. Oh, yeah, here you go. Sealed portion, chapter 17, we're going to start at verse 4. And Mahaliel begot Jared, who was like unto his father in all things. And Jared was ordained in the holy priesthood and served with his fathers in the church of the Almighty that existed among them. And it was in the early ministry of Jared that Adam called his children from all parts of the land to give them his counsel. These are the niggas and Mexicans, using terms to make it plain. The Israelites of today. that came down through Isaac and Jacob. And the people gathered themselves together, even those who belonged to the church of the Most High, and also those who did not belong to the church. And the descendants of Benelli had gathered themselves on one side, and the sons of Seth were gathered on the other side. And Seth sat with his father Adam among the people. And Enos and Canaan and Mahiliel and Jared also sat among the people, as Adam had instructed of those who led the church of the Most High. For behold, Adam would not suffer that the leaders of the people placed themselves above or in front of those whom they serve. I'm serving you right now with the truth. Above or in front of those whom they serve. And it was customary among the leaders of the church that they sit with the congregation and those who had gathered to hear their words. And when it was time for them to speak, this leader would rise up from among the people and take his place in front of them and deliver that which I'm in front of you right now. And when it was time for them to speak, this leader would rise up from among the people and take his place in front of them and deliver that which he was inspired to teach unto them. I told you I was going to teach something totally different. But this is the message that was supposed to be taught at this time. The way I taught it, plain and blunt. And immediately after preaching unto the people, this leader would return once again to his place among the people. And in this way, the people were taught that their leaders were their servants, and that the people should not envy their leaders. Neither should they bow down and worship them. This thing being an abomination before the highest power. Now I, Moroni, would that you should know that Cain was not present at this meeting in Diamond, but he was banished by his father Adam from among the people after it was made known unto Adam what he had done to his brother Abel. And Cain was given the land east of the Garden of Eden and commanded to stay in that part of the land and not partake of the law of the consecration which the rest of the posterity of Adam. And Adam and his people did not support Cain and his posterity. We got a lot of sellouts though. Uncle Ruckus. According to the law, which were established among them. Nevertheless, they suffered that they should live in the borders of their lands, as long as they did not come in among them. See, at that time it was one land before the waters were spread. But the descendants of Benelli supported Cain and his people, and was promised by him by way of the secret covenants, Freemason. Freemasonry. And also secret combinations of secret societies that they had made with him. And the way of commerce and trade was opened up between them that greatly benefited them both. And the posterity of Cain grew and became numerous upon the land. But they could not come unto the children of Adam and partake of their sustenance, which sustenance was provided for them by the laws that Adam had established according to the laws of the Most High. That's what the Most High said. You keep my laws and commandments, I'm gonna make sure you are fed. But if you go and trust in Cain, Mexican, nigga, trust in Esau, well, depend on Esau. When the Most High cuts Esau, he's already cut off, but once he allows Esau to really show his true colors to you, you're gonna wish you had stayed with your people under the law of the Most High that covers you. Trying to get back to where I was at. I just start over again. Seal portion, chapter 23, verse 1. And it came to pass that after Adam had spoken unto his children at Adam Ondiaman, he caused to be written all those things which he had said. And when these things had been written, this is after Cain had already been banished from the Americas. And it came to pass that after Adam had spoken unto his children at Adaman Ammon, he caused to be written all those things which he had said. And when these things had been written according to his commandment, he sent them into all parts of the land unto all his posterity. He didn't send it to Cain because Cain was banned. And he gave special instructions. That's like right now, if you got the sealed portion and it's sent to you, whether you read it or not, more than likely you are an Israelite. Because if you are Cain, you a devil. He didn't send it to you. He sent it to people, but he said our people would not listen to their own demise. And he gave special instructions to those who carried these words forth, even that they should go in among the children of Cain and the descendants of Pallid and give unto them the commandments of Yahweh. And it came to pass that as soon as those who carried forth his words entered in among the children of Cain, they were bound and tortured and slain. See? What you think gonna happen again? That's why the Most High said, I don't want Esau in my Zions that I'm calling the men that I'm sending forth to give instruction to build them. I don't want Cain there. I don't want Esau there because all that's going to happen is this. And it came to pass that as soon as those who carried forth his word, that's like all these Negro Israelites are talking about love everybody and they can come in among us. Well, you're going to find out what's going to happen. And it came to pass that as soon as those who carried forth his words entered in among the children of Cain, they were bound and tortured and slain, and the words that they carried forth were destroyed. And when word came unto Adam that his words had been destroyed, and that those that had carried them forth had been killed, he became desirous that he should go personally to his children who had rejected his word. Most High gave a parable about, he said, what's going to happen to those murderers after I sent my own son and they killed him? They're going to get the fewer Pharaoh treatment. They're going to get the fewer vengeance of the Most High. That's how much he's going to love them. The pure justice without mercy. Without the Most High. Because they ain't got Messiah to cover them. And that those that had carried them forth had been killed, he became desirous that he should go personally to his children who had rejected his word, and who truly were his beloved children, that they might show unto him respect, and that they might listen to him. Come on, Cain in it. But sons of Adam and those who he had gathered together that they might discuss the matter, dissuaded him that he might not go in among them. For the Canaanites had become a wild and ferocious people, and had been taught to hate their brothers and sisters, who were the other sons. See, once again, without knowledge, people will think that means you teaching hate. No, I'm not teaching hate. These are devils. Most High already promised to kill him. But yet, because of the love of a father, he still went in and tried to save him. But his other children said, "No, don't go in there. They're going to kill you, Dad." But the sons of Adam and those whom he had gathered Matthew 21, verse 33 to us. Stop. Here another parable. There was a certain householder which planted a vineyard. He's talking about himself, the father. And hedged it round about and digged a winepress in it and built a tower. And let it out to husbandmen. And went into a far country. And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husbandmen, that they might receive the fruits of it. Same as sending his servants to the wicked, to tell them to repent. And the husbandman took his servants and beat one and killed another and stoned another. Again, he sent another servant for more than the first, and they did unto him likewise. But last of all, he sent unto them his son, saying, they will have reverence for my son. But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said unto themselves, now picture Esau, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him and let us seize his inheritance. And they called him and cast him out of the vineyard and slew him. When Yahweh, therefore, in the vineyard cometh, what will he do unto these husbandmen? They said unto him, he will miserably destroy those wicked men. Yahweh is here. In word first, and then cometh the Son of Man in the flesh. That's why the Roman Catholic Pope had to tell everybody to stand down. That was under his employ. I mean, his people, his domain. He said, or else you're going to end up in the Guantanamo Bay or you're going to be killed. That's what he told his people. Who told him to say that? The Most High. Told you he hears first in word. And the word cannot return void. They say unto him, he will miserably destroy those wicked men and will let out his vineyard unto other husbandmen, which shall render him the fruits in their season. Yahweh says unto them, did you never read in the scripture? The stone which the builders rejected, the same is become the head of the corner. This is Yahweh's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Therefore say I unto you, the kingdom of the Father shall be taken from you and given to a nation bringing forth the fruits thereof. Talking about us. See, originally, the Jews caused the Romans to crucify him. Judah, Benjamin, Levi. But then he said, he told Esau in Ezekiel 35, he said, because you did this to Judah and to Israel and you boasting about it, you boasting against me. Now I'm going to kill you. And I've heard all the blasphemy you said. I heard it. Just paraphrasing Ezekiel 35. And whosoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken. Meaning you're going to be broken and you're going to repent. A broken heart and a contrite spirit. If you fall on this stone, on this word. But the opposite of that is, but on whosoever it shall fall, it will grind him to powder. And that those that had carried them forth had been killed. He became desirous that he should go personally to his children who had rejected his words and who truly were his beloved children. Do you not know that the Most High even tried to save Satan, the spiritual Satan? Just like he tried to save with his temporal counterparts, Esau. Because the spiritual Satan is the temporal Esau. Who truly were his beloved children that they might show unto him respect and that they might listen to him. But the sons of Adam and those whom he had gathered together that they might discuss this matter, dissuaded him that he might not go in among them. For the Canaanites had become a wild and ferocious people and had been taught to hate their brothers and sisters. What's worse than saying I hate you, but then turn around and still bless them? I'm talking about just Israel. Or not saying none at all, but then killing you. Which one is worse? Which one is showing hate? And the counterpart of that is the parable when the Most High said, which one of the brothers obeyed his I'm going to use the term father? The one when his father told him to go out and back and I'm going to use the term cut the grass. And he said, no, I ain't going to do it. But later he went out and cut it anyway. Or the one that said, okay, I'll do it, but then never did it. He said, you shall know them by their actions, their fruits. For the Canaanites had become a wild and ferocious people and had been taught to hate their brothers and sisters. Right here, Ezekiel 35:5. Because you have had a perpetual hatred and have shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. See, that's another action. We read that throughout the books that we read earlier. This is what they've been doing to the indigenous people since the times of Adam and not even Adam, but they had stuff back then, stones. But the time of 1492, the sword. That's what the Spaniards used. That's what Esau used. Because you have had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time of that their iniquity had an end, the time that Jacob's trouble had an end. Let's go on to verse 6. Because he said, what would the father do after you've done this? The father replied in verse 6, therefore, as I live, says the Almighty God, use the term, I will prepare you unto blood, and blood shall pursue you. And since you have hated blood, even blood shall pursue you. Now, let's be fair about the scriptures. Let me go. I'm gonna put in the and see if I can ever find a scripture to say that Jacob has a perpetual hatred for Esau. See what comes up. Oh, only thing came up was look all the way down. Nothing came up except Ezekiel 35:5. But I put in there, Jacob has a perpetual hatred for Esau. Only thing came up was this scripture. So we can't be preaching hate. We just preaching the truth. Ezekiel 35:5. Because you have had a perpetual hatred that has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time of their iniquity had an end. Only thing pops up is a one-sided hatred. It never said that we hated Esau. Now we hate what he does to us. That's only natural. But it said Esau got the hate. So how can we be preaching hate if we preaching what the Most High said to preach? And what the Most High said to preach is that they hate us. Once again, there go Esau. Went for the down, out, and up. Why he do that every time? Because he don't read the scriptures. They can't understand it. So he hears something that sounds like it's in their favor, and then all they do is condemn themselves again. For the Canaanites had become a wild and ferocious people. Canaanites. And had been taught to hate their brothers and sisters who were the other sons and daughters of Adam. Now we got to go somewhere else. Let's go back. Now let's read this again. For the Canaanites had become a wild and ferocious people, and had been taught to hate their brothers and sisters. This is what they've been taught. Who were the other sons and daughters of Adam. Now we got to go back to the Webster Dictionary for race. This means they became the other nations who are not us. Race. Webster's 1828 Dictionary. The lineage of a family or continued series of descendants from a parent who is called the stock. A race is the series of descendants indefinitely. It don't change. That means all the way from Cain to now, somebody grew pale, but they still came. A race is the series of descendants of indefinitely. Thus, all mankind are called the race of Adam. The Israelites are of the race of Abraham and Jacob. Thus, we speak of a race of kings, a race of Clovis, Charlemagne, a race of nobles, etc. But he told you there's a separation between the race of Israel and the race of the other people. And same thing he told us right here. See a portion, chapter 23, verse 5. For the Canaanites had become a wild and ferocious people and had been taught to hate their brothers and sisters, who were the other sons and daughters of Adam, who were not Israelites. We just read it. That's why I told you the difference between man and the other called man is the image. These lost their image and their complexion. Why do you say that? Because it said, Jacob shall not now nor ever shall wax pale. And then when I looked at the term pale, it said that they had to do with complexion, skin. So all those other people that's not like the Israelites lost their complexion and their connection to the Most High. So they start preaching. They're the ones preaching hate. They got a perpetual hatred. And who's the leader of it? The devil, Esau. Now let's prove it. to the sealed portion, chapter 79. I'm not preaching hate because I can't. I'm just exposing the devil like I was supposed to do. The sealed portion, chapter 79. And it shall come to pass among the other people of this great European empire, the nations, which shall be formed from other peoples and kingdoms, the other children of Adam. That's not Israelites. Which shall be formed from other nations and kingdoms of earth that came from the east, because we know that now. That a group of people who shall travel across the great oceans and establish themselves in the land of my fathers. See, these are enemies. Yet these shall begin to prosper exceedingly in all things. And there shall also be the rich among them who shall become rich. See, that's why you can't separate like some of our elders try to do. No, we're talking about the poor people. I'm not talking about the rich. I'm talking all these bastards. He said, because all of them, I just read it, they were taught to hate us. I'm only keeping it real and plain. I'm not trying to teach a popularity contest. I'm just preaching the word. Line upon line, precept on precept, based on knowledge that we've been given now. And there shall also be the rich among them who shall become rich from the land and the things that they shall take from the land of my fathers. For behold, the Lamanites, these are the American Israelites, shall be upon the land when it is, this is actually, you're talking about Ephraim right here. I'm going to put it that way, the fruitful bow. For behold, Ephraim shall be upon the land when it is discovered by these great European nations of the latter days. They come from Cain. And at this time, they shall be a humble people, having their own tribes and nations upon the land. Speaking about Ephraim, the coat of many colors. And though the spirit of Yahweh shall not be with them directly, that's because we had fell away and became strangers to him. They shall remember many of the teachings of their fathers and begin to establish peace among themselves, according to their traditions and the customs which shall be passed down to them from generation to generation. And it shall come to pass that Lucifer, Esau, shall influence the discovery of the land of promise, the Spaniards, which is filled with all manner of precious things, which are the desires of this great and abominable church. See, Esau, the Spaniards, are other names for the abominable church, the Europeans, of which I have spoken. And when the Americas is discovered, the land of promise, we found that out too, so I'm not adding to it, I take it from. And when the Americas is discovered by the people of the Spaniards, which are Esau, the European empire, just making it plain, based on knowledge that we already been given, they should begin to search for gold and silver and for anything that is of value to them. So you're just making what the parables of the Bible you got, you're just making it plain. Taking away the fairy taleness out of it. And it shall come to pass that they shall begin to destroy the Ephraimites and take from them their lands and force them into places which are desolate and void of the precious things that these European nations desire. And the Ephraimites shall begin to dwindle in number and lose their nations, their people, and their lands to the effects of the lust of the great and abominable church. And the men who shall destroy the Ephraimites shall think that they're doing God a service. Messiah said, John 16:2, they shall put you out of the synagogues, the churches. The time cometh that whosoever killeth you think that he does God service. Matthew 24:9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. He was talking about 1492. That happened this time too, but he was prophesying about 1492. Sealed portion, chapter 79, verse 9. And the men who shall destroy the Lamanites shall think that they are doing God a service, because they believe that the Ephraimites and all those who are of a dark skin, all the rest of the tribes who are there, the other brothers from the tribes that's coming under Ephraim for this last day, although you're still part of the tribe, you're still part of your original tribes, is that now you're under the ministry of Ephraim, the latter day prophet. And all those who have a dark skin and all those who have been cursed of God and not worthy of the full blessing of the Father. See, their belief system, this is their doctrine. And where do you learn this from? And this wickedness should be taught unto them by their leaders and their priests, who are all servants of Satan, and shall follow his will in all things. So your John Hagees, your, all them people, even the Creflo Dollars and T.D. Jakes, even down to your ministry, what the church you go to is your local church. They all servants of Satan, because they all preaching that same message that you are the cursed people. When the Most High, when Yahweh was died on the tree for you and became a curse for you, so how are you still cursed if you in him? He wasted his time then. Seal portion, chapter 23, verse 5. But the sons of Adam and those whom he had gathered together that they might discuss this matter, dissuaded him that he might not go in among them. For the Canaanites, now we can just go on and say the Canaanites are the European nations, the Spaniards. How do you know? Because they don't want to use the swords against Israel with a perpetual hatred. The Romans, the Moors, which came from Nimrod. I knew they was gonna walk across it. They went for the down, out, and up. That's why I threw Nimrod in there. You ain't learned yet, people? You damn bastards. Y'all keep going for the down, out, and up. That's the secret society between Esau and Ham, trying to take away the covenant from Shem. And what is part of the covenant of the promise? The land. For the Canaanites had become a wild, that's why you got Cain and Benelli. For the Canaanites had become a wild and ferocious people and had been taught to hate their brothers and sisters, the Israelites. Who were the other sons and daughters of Adam. Even those who had not been banished out of the land by Adam in the day of their father Cain. And the descendants of Benelli were the more intelligent of those who did not take heed. Why is that? Because they the literal sons of the devil. And the descendants of Benelli were the more intelligent of those who did not give heed unto the words of Adam. And these Benellites stirred up the Canaanites to anger against the sons and daughters of Adam. The Europeans, or really the Benellites, and they stirred up the Canaanites, the Moors, to anger against the sons and daughters of the Israelites, who did not belong to their families and to their communities. How do I know that the Canaanites were the Moors? He said because Cain, being over in Africa, because of his disobedience, he became darker and darker, and his skin changed darker than the children of Adam. The indigenous Africans are darker than the indigenous Americans. We're copper colored. They're more nearer to the color of black. And I'm not disrespecting nobody, but it's obvious. And who's always stirring up stuff? The devil. For his benefit. And the descendants of Benelli were the more intelligent of those who did not give heed unto the words of Adam. And these Benellites stirred up the Canaanites to anger against the sons and daughters of Adam, the Israelites, who did not belong to their families and to their communities. For the Benellites had for many years established a mean of trade and industry with the Canaanites. Even that Canaanites performed all the labors for the Benellites, so that these did not have to work with their own hands. And because the words of Adam condemned their works, and would be the means of ending their trade with the Canaanites, thus forcing them to work by the sweat of their own brow, these Benellites, these Europeans, stirred up the Canaanites to anger against the children of Adam, the Israelites, even those who listened to his words. For the Canaanites were a very strong people as to the strength of a man, the Africans. because of the laborers that they performed for the Caucasians, the Europeans, the Benelux, the devils. And the righteous son of Adam were also strong as to the strength of a man. So you got the Africans and the Americans, they were both really strong. Yet their strength was in the health of their marrow and the strength of their bones, which strength was increased by the spirit of the power, which was in them. See, we have the spirit of God in us, which gives us our strength. That amplifies our natural strength. But the Canaanites were much stronger than the other sons of Adam because of the intense physical labor that they did perform daily to sustain their lives of the Europeans, the Benelux, who they had accepted as their leaders. And at this time, ore and iron and steel, nor any other metal, had not yet been discovered among the children of men. For these things were not necessary to sustain life, but were introduced later to the children of men by Satan, Esau, who used these things to augment the means of force in the armies that he used to cause wars and horror upon the earth. As he had promised. And during the time of Adam, the men did often engage in feats of strength. But these games were done in love and compassion. You know how we used to play football in the street without getting paid and stuff like that? We couldn't wait to go outside and show our skills. Go to the park and play baseball and dodgeball, soccer, and all these things. But then Esau would come and recruit. He'd send spies by and say, man, them boys out there got skills. They put their mind together and say, you know what? We're going to make that a business. And we're going to get paid off of it. And during the time of Adam, see, this is the time of Adam this stuff was going on. So they didn't create this stuff. We've been doing this. They just got paid over it. And during the time of Adam, the men did often engage in feats of strength, but these games were done in love and compassion for those with whom they competed. Because they was our brothers and sisters. But because Esau has a perpetual hatred from us that stemmed back from that time, they were talking about trying to get paid off of at our expense. But these games were done in love and compassion for those with whom they competed. And it did not matter among them who was stronger than the other. For they that were strong used their strength for the benefit of the weak. Hey, I'm gonna use a term. Hey, bro, don't worry about it. You faster than me, so I'll block for you. Because I'm bigger than you. Touchdown, I knew you can do it. It said, in the books of remembrance, it said Moses was a little man like Zipporah, and he was quick of movement. So Aaron, who might have been a bigger man, said, hey, Moses, this is the play, man. I'm going to pitch it to you, and I'm going to take off and block for you down the sideline. Touchdown, Moses! And during the time of Adam, the men did often engage in feats of strength, but these games were done in love and compassion for those whom they competed. And it did not matter among them who was stronger than the other, for they that were strong used their strength for the benefit of the weak. And among the righteous children of Adam, the men did not know how to use their strength to take the life of another, nor were they trained in using their strength to defend themselves. But the Canaanites were expert at the art of fighting and conquering. Once again, another clue of who they are. Yeah, the games among them were fought to the death. Who else did that? The Romans. And he that was victorious over another received great honor and distinction among them. Therefore, they were strong as to the skill that were necessary to conquer another. Another trait. And it came to pass that the Benelites organized the Canaanites into armies and elected captains and chiefs among them. Now, who were in the book of One World Tritarians, it said that the Moors, which is synonymous with being an African, were highly recruited to be in the armies of the Romans. Let's go back and check that video out. See portion 23 and 13. But the Canaanites were experts at the art of fighting and conquering. Yeah, the games among them were fought to the death. And he that was victorious, see, that's why you gotta have a spirit, the spirit of the Most High. It's all right there. But you gotta have spiritual insight to see what's right there. Even though this book is plain, it takes a spiritual mind from the Most High to make it plainer, which we're doing today. Looking through the Urim and Thummim, through the eyes of the Creator. But the Canaanites were expert at the art of fighting and conquering. Yeah. The games among them were fought to the death, and he that was victorious over another received great honor and distinction among them. Therefore, they were strong as to the skills that were necessary to conquer another. And it came to pass that the Benelites organized the Canaanites into armies and elected captains and chiefs among them. Just like they sent Columbus. The Spaniards sent Columbus here to America to conquer the Israelites. The Benelites sent the Canaanites to the Americas to conquer the Ephraimites. Although we had all of our tribes, was basically, a lot of us was here. Not all, but a lot at that time. But most was here. And the desire was that they should become sufficiently strong enough to invade the land of Eden. Now, do you see who came here? To the Americas? We read the story to you earlier. It's just making it plainer so you can see. And their desire was that they should become sufficiently strong enough to invade the land of Eden, which is America, and take the sons and daughters of Adam captive so they could be the leaders of the whole land. Haven't I just proven to you that I'm an American Israelite? And if you can't see that, that just means you lying and you are Edomite. or you are an Israelite who's in cahoots with them. Verse 14, seal portion, chapter 23, verse 14. And it came to pass that the Benelites organized the Canaanites into armies and elected captains and chiefs among them. But guess what? The Most High said, nothing that makes it a lie shall enter into his kingdom. So if you hold on to your lie out of your pride, you ain't going to enter into the kingdom. So ain't no need for me to get mad at you. You did it to yourself. Because you won't tell the truth. And it came to pass that the Benelites organized the Canaanites into armies and elected captains and chiefs among them. And their desire was that they should become sufficiently strong enough to invade the land of Eden, which is in America, and take the sons and daughters of Adam, which are the Aboriginal indigenous, what they call Negroes, who are truly the Ephraimites, captive, so they could be the leaders of the whole land. And it came to pass that Adam was given word of the preparations of the Benelites and the Canaanites to come in among them and take over the land. And because of this, Adam became exceedingly sorrowful and mourned many days before Yahweh, praying unto him that this thing might not come to pass. Jacob's trouble. And the voice of Yahweh came unto Adam, saying, behold, it is expedient unto me that I allow this thing to come to pass. For I have granted unto the children of men their agency to choose for themselves. Now you're going to Deuteronomy 28. If they would have obeyed the Most High, this would never came to pass. But since they didn't obey, scenario. San Francisco treat. For I have granted unto the children of men their agency to choose for themselves the laws by which they shall live and the happiness that they would desire. And it is necessary that they experience all the vicissitudes of mortality, so that they shall understand the great necessity, that word that I love, the Most High loves. They had to tell us by necessity. Understand the great necessity, because it was a great necessity. By a great necessity, they had to tell us. And keeping my commandments. See, they had to tell us by necessity, because they had to keep the commandment, which I have given unto them. And now, my beloved son, lift up your head and be of good cheer. For behold, you have kept my commandments and has done all those things which I have commanded you to do. See, same message the other day. He said, don't stop trying to have the preeminence. Just do what I told you to do. And it's not because of your sins that your children desire to disobey my commandments. For you have taught them that they should do what they should do. Some of the Israelite dads have taught their children what they should do, to the best of their knowledge. Trying to tell them to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Father, even though we didn't know to keep the law, statutes. But we still try to tell them, live by the Bible, which is the commandments. And it's not because of your sins that your children desire to disobey my commandments. For you have taught them what they should do. And their sins should be answered upon their own heads. And now a commandment I give unto you, that you and those who follow you should leave the land of Eden and make vessels in which you can cross the great waters, enter into a land that has been prepared for you. And Eden, and this land is not as verdant and comely as the land of Eden, but it is the land that I desire that the generations of men inhabit for their own sake. Talking about Africa. But we didn't come from Africa, we came from America. For the land of Eden, being America, shall be withheld from the knowledge of the children of men, because it's a promised land. This is a land, it's not just any old type of land. It's the land of milk and honey. It's a land that you got to be worthy of being here. That's why I'm trying to tell you. I've been waking up to the fact that I'm proud to be an American. I ain't gonna let nobody tell me through their ignorance to put down who I am. I'm an American, baby. Israelite American. Put the Most High's name on it. For the land of Eden, America, shall be withheld from the knowledge of the children of men until the time that I shall make it again known unto them. I'm trying to make it known unto you. Are you listening? And because the children of men choose to disobey my commandments, and this is because of the state of the flesh in which they are in, there should be much wickedness throughout the world during all the future generations of your posterity. That's why they're talking about, and I'm not trying to disrespect Africa, but that's why they're trying to tell you come from Africa. And I will make this land of Eden a promised land unto those whom I will. And I will cause that it shall be a place of refuge and freedom for those of your posterity that honor me and keep my commandments. That's why I try to tell you, I can't make you free, because you don't want to be free. But for the elect, you're free by necessity. And if I did not save a promised land for this purpose, then the wicked of the earth would soon overcome the righteous. And the ends of the creation of earth would be frustrated and complicated. For the wicked shall destroy the wicked. Remember he said in yesterday's message, the end of the world or the end of the wicked. And we found out who was the wicked. Esau. For the wicked shall destroy the wicked, and unless I take the righteous from among them, they will destroy the righteous also. Remember he told the righteous Israelites who are in Africa to return home to America. Say, leave the east and come to the west. Remember he said that yesterday in the message. What did Denzel Washington say in the movie? We're going west, going west, going west, going west. And I would that you should teach your children to keep my commandments in all things. And I've commanded you to love one another. That's what he's talking about, his children. Because remember he said early on, he said, we was not of the same community nor of the same people as the Canaanites and the Canaanites and what is the other people called? Benellites. I mean, that's the term. Benellites. We not the same people as them. We read it, right? I read it to you. Did you hear it? And I would that you teach your children to keep my commandments in all things. And I've commanded you to love one another from your children, your posterity, and to give him that asketh of you. And if you are struck on the left, turn again the right, that I might also be struck. He's talking about among us, because we love each other. I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna redeem my brother Leon, man, because he's an Israelite. Because I remember a story, right? Because we had a little. He's not that much younger than us. His name is Didi. He don't mind me telling him. Nickname. Remember one time people was messing with Didi, and I said, "Man, leave Didi alone, man," because I was ready to fight. You messing with Didi? That's my little homie. I wasn't a fighter, but when it was time for me to fight, I would put hands on you, and they knew it. They didn't really mess with me. But my homie Leon also had love for Didi. So he got mad at Didi, and he just took off on him. But because he's an Israelite, I'm not saying whether he's wicked or righteous or whatever. I'm just saying because he's an Israelite and he got love for his brother, guess what he did? He said, "Oh man, Didi, man, go and get that one back, man. Go and get that one back. Hit me back." That's the kind of love you got for your brother. And I would that you should teach your children to keep my commandments in all things. And I commanded you to love one another, to give to him that asketh of you. And if you are struck on the left, had another thought too, asked Leon. I showed him brotherly love one time too when somebody was bothering him. Said, you gotta do that again. And I have commanded you to love your enemies and do good to them that hate you and persecute you and despitefully use you. Among the brethren. And I have covenanted with you that if you shall do these things, then you shall prosper in the land. But if you do not do these things, then you shall perish in the land with the wicked. If you are to be an example to your children of the way that they shall live, then I say unto you that you shall not fight your enemy in Israel, your brother, but shall give unto him that which he desireth. But who is my brother? Those who keep my Father's commandments. That keeps you safe from the wicked in Israel, who will use you until you don't have nothing else. And he said, how do you know if it's your brother or my friend? He said, you got to prove him. If they ain't keeping the commandments, they ain't your friend. Who do he call his friends? The prophets. The ones who keeps his father's commandments. The elect. But you should not allow your enemy to hurt you or to take advantage of the purity and chastity of your women. But you should flee before them and allow them to have the land of Eden. And you shall do these things and keep my commandments, you shall be blessed. And I will prepare a way whereby you and your posterity might be saved. That even goes for like you're saying, like instead of fighting your brother, I don't care if they called you a coward. Man, that's your brother, man. This either love him from a distance. Now go, my son, and teach these things unto your children. Remember that I have said that he that shall find his life shall lose it. And he shall find it. And he that shall find it, it's like you do it again. Remember that I have said that he that shall find his life shall lose it. And he that loses his life for my sake shall find it. And if you lose your life in keeping the commandments of the Most High, meaning your stuff and then whatever else, you're going to be rewarded up to 4 times what you lost. I'm just making it plain. They don't mean all the time, meaning you got to die literally. Then shall you be received in the kingdom of the power in a state of never-ending happiness. But if you live or die in your sins, so you say you can still be alive in your sins, or you can be put to death in your sins. You should be received in a state of misery. These are my words and commandments unto you. And it came to pass that when Adam had received the word of Yahweh, he called unto him and those that would give heed to his word. And when they had gathered before him, Adam recounted unto them all the words of Yahweh. And there were those among that were angered because of these words. Are you angry? And it was their desire that they should stand up to the Mennonites and the Canaanites and defend the land against them. Most High said, the weapons I war for are not carnal. It's not by guns and knives. He said, but it's by my spirit, which is this word, which brought about necessity. And there were 2 mighty and strong men among the sons of Adam, and their names were Amram and Amalek. And these had many sons who were like unto their fathers. And these stood forth and pledged their support to their fathers and wanted that Adam would allow them to stand and fight the Canaanites. But Adam rebuked them, saying, do you know that you are what you're asking? Do you realize that you are desiring to disobey the commandments that Yahweh has given unto us? I say unto you that if we stay and fight against the Canaanites, we shall perish with them. Behold, your anger is caused by your pride. And this pride had been put into your hearts by Satan, who would have us destroyed. That's the answer to you Israelites out there who want to take it in your own hands and say, we're going to get arms and we're going to go and fight Esau to your destruction. Esau is a killer, man. You don't mess with Esau, man. That's what he do. And now, my beloved children, let us make haste and gather up the provisions that we are in need of and leave this land according to the commandments of Yahweh. Let's leave America. Let's go on towards Africa. Over there where Esau, where they were sent. And Amram and Amalek did not agree with their father Adam. Nevertheless, they knew that their numbers were not sufficient enough that they should stand alone and fight against the Canaanites. And the Benelites had placed spies among the children of Adam. And these spies acted as if they were righteous, and that they were desirous to hear the words of Adam. And after hearing the words of Adam, these spies returned again to their leaders and told them all the things that Adam had said. These are the when I thought about that, I thought about the civil rights movement. Man, ain't nothing new under the sun. Infiltration. And after hearing the words of Adam, these spies returned again to their leaders and told them all things that Adam had said, and revealed unto their leaders the plans that Adam was making to depart out of the land. And it came to pass that the Benelites were so darkened and corrupted by the power of Satan that they did not want Adam and those who would follow him to leave the land undisturbed. They always trying to tell you go back to Africa, but they know you ain't come from Africa, and they don't really want you to leave. And they knew that they were going to inherit the land of Eden, for this had been one of the purposes for which they had stirred up the Canaanites to anger against the other sons and daughters of Adam. That's why they were trying to get you to come on. We're the Moors, we're the real Americans, we're the ones that we really belong to us, but they had cahoots with Esau. Talking about they worship the Baphomet and this flag belongs to them. See, all you gotta do is look through the fluff. As they say, the smoke is all right here in the word. Because they already know the land belongs to us. But their utmost desire was to enslave the children of Adam, so they would not have to work with their own hands. Let me ask you a question. I mean, using the term work. I mean, like really work, though. What was the children of Adam doing before they got here? Was they working? And the leaders of the Benelites called together their captains and their chiefs and gave them unto them a commandment. That's man-made commandment to their own people. That they should immediately go in among the people of Adam and keep them from leaving the land of Eden. Don't that sound like the Egyptians trying to keep the Israelites from leaving Egypt? Why? Because they was working for them. They the one built everything. And it came to pass as the Canaanites were gathering their armies together to do that thing that they were commanded, an exceedingly great storm gathered in their lands. And there came great whirlwinds that carried many of them away and destroyed their homes and their precious things. And the Canaanites became sore afraid and did not unite at this time to go up against the people of Adam. And thus we can see that the promises of Yahweh shall be fulfilled in all those who keep his commandments. See, the time was now for stupid. If you go to my definitions of stupid, because I call people stupid the other day, but I had to tell them why I was calling them stupid. Stupid just simply means confounded. He said, but now, because of this truth, we cannot be confounded. That's why you can see everything I was trying to tell you, that we're free. We're free by necessity, which is of the Most High, because we cannot now be confounded. We're not stupid no more. Unless you want to be stupid. If you can also look at the term of that I put on for stupid for the Etymology online dictionary, it says man is born ignorant, but through education they are stupid. So everybody that's based on that information, everybody that's boasting in Israel that they call themselves African American and all that stuff, putting their neck up, talking about, I got a master's degree. I'm from Harvard. Nigga, you ain't from Harvard. You from South Central, Compton, Watts. And you stupid. Because you got miseducated into being stupid. You done lost any common sense you had. Because they taught you that. And thus we can see that the promises of Yahweh shall be fulfilled unto all those who keep his commandments. Now, do you see why they teach you to not keep the commandments? They trying to keep you here. And what I mean by here, in their world that's here. Colorable things. That's why Most I said, come out of their world, out of their imaginations, and come back to being who you were called to be. And it came to pass that Adam and those who followed him were guided by the Spirit, whither they should go. The word. Line upon line, precept on precept, here a little, there a little. And they constructed ships that they had never before seen among them, even according to the Spirit that directed them in the construction of these things, of these ships. And they carried forth many of these seeds that they had harvested in the land of Eden. So let me tell you, let me dispel another thing I just found out. Oh, you can't come from Africa on no ship? Man, people, you have been died a long time ago if, well, how did Adam and them get from America to Africa on a ship? So you got to stop listening to everything people be telling you, man. I did. And I'm better off for it. Because I still believe everything somebody tell me. And it came to pass that Adam and those who followed him were guided by the Spirit, the capital S, Spirit, the Holy Spirit, whither they should go. And somebody probably, in Hebrew, there's no difference between S and small. Well, it's written that way so you can know what spirit he's talking about. And then they qualify their scholarship by scholars. Well, the Israeli scholar said it, but the word said this. Who you gonna believe? And it came to pass that Adam and those who followed him were guided by the Spirit whither they should go, and they constructed ships. Not one ship, but ships. That also tells you how they got there. It wasn't just one ship. It was ships for all these people. That the Spirit, just like the ark, how did that survive all that water? By the Spirit. He says, not by power nor by might, but by my Spirit. Which caused that man of sin to say, hey, by the way, I have to tell you this, that you're free, and we have to return everything back to you. How did that happen? By his Spirit. And they constructed ships that they had never before seen among them, even according to the Spirit that directed them in the construction of these ships. And they carried forth many seeds, many people of Israel, of Adam, Aboriginal people. And they carried forth many seeds. Now you see how Israelites got to Africa. But we didn't come from Africa. Because the Most High said, you're not worthy to be on this promised land. But the day that you're worthy, I'll bring you back. And I'll wake you up to know that they belong to you when you start keeping my laws, statutes, and commandments. And this time, you're not going to be confounded, nor am I going to let them destroy you. But I'm going to send them a personal letter called Ezekiel 35 and Obadiah, written directly from me. And they carried forth many of the seeds that they had harvested in the land of Eden. That's including fruits, vegetables, things like that. But that still stands true to what I just said. And they also took with them many of the animals that they had trained to help them. So I heard somebody say that all these animals in Africa, how did they get here? He said, they don't have them in America. No, they came from America. If you do your research, they had American lions, American this, American that. But all these animals came from America to Africa. How? On ships. And they carried forth many of the seeds that they had harvested in the land of Edom, America. So a lot of even the plants and things is over there, they were planted by Adam in them. And they also took with them many of the animals that they had trained to help them till the earth. So you mean to tell me that Barnus and Bailey of the circus is not the first time that the animal was trained? How did Adam even know how to train an animal? Oh, I knew. Because at that time, the animal wasn't eating Adam in it. So Adam didn't really need no whips and nothing to be trying to train him. That came from Esau in it. Same thing they tried to do when they called you slaves. How they trying to train you? By the whip. And they carried forth many of the seeds that they had harvested in the land of Eden, America. And they also took with them many of the animals that they had trained to help them till the earth. So that means right now, many of the animals that's still here in America was the ones they left behind. The ones that's over in Africa right now is the ones that Adam and them took over there, because there wasn't no animals over there. Everything came from America. See how the Most High is explaining to us what happened? Also took many of the animals that they had trained to help them till the earth and harvest the fruits thereof. And it came to pass that they set forth upon the many waters and traveled until they came to a great continent that they had never seen before, Africa. And they entered into a waterway that carried them into the middle of this continent. And when they had entered into this passage between the lands, they traveled for a time on the great expanse of the sea that was enclosed by these great continents. And they traveled upon this sea until they came to a great river that flowed into it. And they found that the borders of this river were verdant and bountiful, like unto the land of Eden. Not Edom, but Eden. So they said Africa was a lot like America. Yeah, of course the Most High gonna send you to a land that's nice, even in your disobedience. Although Adam wasn't disobedient, his children were. Nevertheless, these borders were limited in their expanse and were surrounded by deserts and desolate land that was uninhabitable for the children of men. And they also found in these lands other beings of a lower order that were like unto them. Remember we talked about those other beings that came across the sea that were the Europeans? The Afrikaans with the K. KK. The ones that taught their children to hate their brothers. And they also found in these lands other beings of a lower order that were like unto them, even the descendants of those who had found their way to the land of Eden. And these beings were descendants of those who had bred with the children of Adam and had corrupted the bodies that Yahweh had created for them. And there were many among the children of Adam who had chosen to leave the land of Eden and follow him across the great waters. There were descendants of Benelli, and of those who did not have the pure blood of Adam. You mean to tell me that during the times of Adam, there were some people that didn't have the pure blood? Okay. And it came to pass, because remember he said there were some people that even Cain and Benelli was not considered his community or his people. And it came to pass as they began to settle in this new land, many of them began to explore the land in search of other areas where they could live. See, there's a lot of mixture going on over there in Africa. But remember, Cain was sent over there. Back when Adam was in America. because he wasn't allowed to take part in the festivities of Adam and his posterity. And there were many among the children of Adam who had chosen to leave the land of Eden and follow him across the great waters. There were descendants of Pallid, and of those who did not have the pure blood of Adam. And it came to pass as they began to settle in this new land. See, Africa is the new land, not America. That's another thing that just came out. That's why when the Africans came here, they called it the New World. And it came to pass as they began to settle in the new land, many of them began to explore the land in search of other areas where they could live. And as they traveled eastward, they found other great rivers which spilled their waters into the oceans that surrounded the land. And these great continents were exceedingly large. And it came to pass that the sons and the daughters of Adam began to inhabit these lands. See? We started out in America, and the Most High sent us to the east. So where did the Middle East come from? Oh, I know. The people that was over in the east. Before Adam got there. Cain. Because remember, Cain was the first one who went over there. He was the first to be sent. While Adam and his posterity was still in America. Many of them find the great rivers that existed there and settling, because we said even Benelli people came later. Because they followed Adam out of America. See, a portion tells us that was the Degadachi that followed him out of the land. And after many years of inhabiting these lands, the children of Adam were interspersed with those other beings of a lower order that were like unto them. After many years, over in Africa. Now, you might be able to take the term African American from them. Because the Americans went over there and intermingled with them Africans. But the European was over there too. Cain. And Benelli. And it came to pass that these beings ceased to exist. For they had been driven out of their lands by the children of Adam or mixed with them. That's why the Most High told you not to marry them. By marrying them, you keeping them alive. He said these beings, like that's something bad. These beings. Well, maybe it was something bad. You interpret it for yourself. And it came to pass that these beings ceased to exist. Same thing he'll do again. He said Esau can only come into the congregation of the law after the third generation when they're going to cease to exist. Through intermingling. Once Israel get back to marrying Israel again. But you hard-headed niggas, you want one of them so bad though. And it came to pass that these beings ceased to exist, for they had been driven out of their lands by the children of Adam, or mixed with them, contrary to the commandments of God concerning this thing. Did he just tell you that again? And Amalek and Amaron rebelled against Adam and were desirous to return again to the land of Eden and take back the land that they had left for the Benelites and Canaanites to possess. And because they rebelled against Adam, they did not carry with them the words that he had caused to be written, the books of remembrance, which words contain the commandments of the Most High. And because they had no other form of writing among them, which is used as an example to teach their children, their language became corrupt. And it came to pass that all those who did not carry forth the words of that Adam had caused to be written soon found that their languages and the manner of communication had become corrupted. And in this way, the people of the earth began to divide themselves and create their own languages and cultures among them. But among those who listened to the words of Adam and obeyed the commandments of God, I'm using the term God in case people get angry. He said God. And carried this written word among them. Yet even among these, they did retain the pure language that Adam had received from the Father. And it came to pass that in the land of Eden, America, there began to be many wars and contentions among the Canaanites. Some say Ham was already there. No, they wasn't. And if they were there, they wasn't over there where Adam's children were. They're not Adam's children, the Aboriginal Indigenous Americans, because they were sent to America. To Africa, and then they returned. After not many years, the contentions increased to such a degree that the Benelites could not maintain control over them any longer. And the Canaanites had organized themselves into tribes that considered that of the leaders that the Benelites caused to be formed among them, even their captains and their chiefs. And these captains and these chiefs were ferocious warriors. And they began to divide the land among themselves and take that which they wanted by force. But remember, the children of Adam never behaved like that. Not the indigenous, righteous people. They weren't even taught to act like that. And because the spirit of Yahweh had ceased to administer among them, they were left to themselves. And when a carnal man is left to himself, he becometh even more carnal, fleshly, devilish, sensual, and devilish. You don't say that, but I just thought about another scripture. And beginning to think and act like the animals of a lower order, which are driven by their instincts alone. And it came to pass that the Canaanites and their leaders would no longer listen to the flattering words of the Benelites. Remember, he said eventually the wicked going to destroy the wicked, whose wisdom and intelligence they did not understand. And the Canaanites sought out the Benelites and killed every one of them. See, when the Most High said into the word, they killed every one of them, he comes back and tell you there's a remnant of them to remain, though. But eventually, when his word don't return void, so that means eventually they all going to be dealt with at some time. but usually there's a remnant left for a cause, for a reason. When he said every one of them gonna die, he's still alive. But there's also a remnant to keep him around for a little bit longer to carry out the storyline. And the Canaanites sought out the Mennonites and killed every one of them, and also their women and their children, so that not one Benelite remained upon the land. And the wars and the contentions between the leaders of the Canaanites became exceedingly fierce. And there were some among them who were more pacified in their natures. And these fled toward the lands northward, which lands were not inhabitable because of the cold that had overcome them. That sounds like seer, don't it? But in order to save their lives, these fled from among the Canaanites. And they traveled into the land of snow and ice, where they would not be destroyed by the wars and the contentions that existed among the rest of the Canaanites. And not many years had passed before the Canaanites were all destroyed upon the face of the whole land of Eden. But remember, they were also in Africa, because that's where they were sent the first time. And there were some of those who escaped the wars and the contentions, who had fled to the great waters. And they made crude ships after the manner of him who had first deceived Eve in the Garden of Eden. And because these ships were not like unto the ships that the sons of Adam constructed, this is like in the times of the ark. I'm pretty much sure it was people who didn't obey Adam and wouldn't listen to him, but still under the guise of trying to preserve their own lives, they built it according to the instructions of men. I'm quite sure there was more arks that was built because they was watching Adam. It's like, I ain't gonna listen to that nigga, but hey, baby, go get that piece of wood over there. See, I know that the Most High said I got to be austere, but man, I got to be myself too, man. I can't just be somebody totally different. I make jokes. I'm trying to cut back on them, to be more obedient to the Most High. But if I cut out all of the lightheartedness out of me, I'll be somebody else. That's not who I am. See portion 23 and 59. And not many years had passed before the Canaanites were all destroyed upon the face of the whole land of Eden. And there were some of those who escaped the wars and contentions, who had fled to the great waters, and they made crude ships after the manner of him who had first deceived Eve in the Garden of Eden. That's in about the sealed portion, chapter 15 and 16. Talks about it. And because these ships were not like unto the ships that the sons of Adam constructed according to the manner shown unto them by the Spirit of God, Yahweh, they could not travel as far. Now, this might be why they say at that time, they say the transatlantic slave trade, this is why, I ain't gonna say probably, this is why they said they couldn't make it that far. He just told us the rest of it right here. And because these ships were not like unto the ships of the sons of Adam constructed, according to the manner shown unto them by the Spirit of the Most High. Most High didn't show the Spaniards how to see. I'm not. You didn't catch me in a lie. I'm not a liar. I'm free to make corrections as I go. Now I'll be a liar if I'm trying to cover it up and then move over past it and don't tell you what it says. Then I'm gonna be a liar. But this is a manual, an instruction book, as far as a history book. So it allows for corrections as you go. That means following the Lamb whichever way he goes. And not many years had passed before the Canaanites were all destroyed upon the face of the whole land of Eden. And there were some of those who escaped the wars and the contentions, who had fled to the great waters, and they made crude ships after the manner of him, Satan. Esau had first deceived Eve in the Garden of Eden. And because these ships were not like unto the ships that the sons of Adam constructed, according to the manner shown unto them by the Spirit of the Most High, they could not travel as far. And many of them found the islands of the great oceans. They began to inhabit these islands, which supported their needs. That's why when they came from America, they was taking the children of Adam to these islands. Back and forth. Because they did not have the word of the Most High among them, their manner of language was also corrupt. And when the children of men corrupt the language that they have been given, and have no example in writing of this language, then they do not retain the ability to keep a record of their history. And this is because they do not know how to write the written words of their languages, not having an example to follow. Thus we can see the importance of the commandments of the Most High pertaining unto the words of the prophets, that he has commanded the children of men to keep among them. That's why he gave us the books of remembrance. This is also a book of remembrance called the Sealed Portion. The Apocrypha, the Bible, all this is really books of remembrance, because it all was started by Seth, Adam's son, who came after Abel was killed by Cain. Seth is the one who started writing down the words we got right now. And thus we can see the importance of keeping a record of the people. What is that record called? Genealogy. And the brother of Jared saw all these things according to the manner in which it was presented unto him by the Spirit. And I, Moroni, can only write a small part of all the brother of Jared saw pertaining to the children of Adam and their history. Somebody said that this was not a history book. All this is a history of Israel, the children of Israel, from Adam on down. It's called the righteous. Yasharallah. But the things I do right are the things that the Spirit has commanded me. See, he's doing what he was commanded. He ain't worried about somebody else. Because everybody do their part, you'll have a complete work. But the things that I do right are the things that the Spirit has commanded me. And the Spirit shall command me according to the will of the Father. Or you could say, in my life. For the Father would that many of these things should be made known unto his children in the latter days, so that they might know the plan that he has outlined for their salvation. And the things concerning the history of the children of men that I write in this record shall confound the written histories that the children of men have caused to be written among them. Meaning now he calls so you won't be stupid, based on the definition. That they taught you in their history books. For those histories that they have caused to be written among them are not always according to the truth. Wow. For those who have written these histories were not present when the events occurred. Even all those events that have taken place among the children of men since the beginning. And many of their records are from testimonies of others who were also not present when these things and events occurred. He told you they're going to put their images and their information in your books and change it to them. Therefore, all the histories among the children of men have been corrupted by the precepts and opinions of the men who have taken upon themselves to write these histories. His story. And he wasn't even there. But if a man is not there at the time that an event occurred, then how should he make the claim that his interpretation of that event is the truth regarding it? But the prophets of the Most High know the history of men. And these prophets do not know the history of men by the power of their own sight or by their own understanding, but these things are given unto them by the power of the Spirit. Literally by the Spirit, or you can read it, same Spirit. That's why it's not lying to you if you get to a spot that corrects an area that you might not fully have seen. This is the Urim and Thummim, the word. To let you see exactly what is there. Through line by line, precept on precept. Here a little, there a little. And those that are in the spirit world see all things that occur among the children of men in mortality. And a record of these events is recorded by those who have been given this calling by the Father under the direction of the Holy Ghost. Adam. And there are also those who travel between the planet on which we live and the planet on which the Father lives. That's another way you know. They come to you and tell you whether you see them or not. And there are also those who travel between the planet on which we live and the planet on which the Father lives. And these also take a record of that which is occurring on this earth and present it unto the Father, that he might know all things pertaining to this earth that he has created for his children. Told you. Those, they say they call them the big brother that's watching everything. But guess what? These is watching the big brother. That's why there's such thing called necessities that pleases the Father. And for this reason, the words of the brother Jared are more true and accurate account of the history of the children of men. And there has been no other account that has been given by the children of men that shall present the truth regarding the events of the past than the words of the brother of Jared. For this reason, Yahweh has caused that his words were sealed up and kept from the children of men until the fullness of time. That's where we at right now. When all things shall be made known, when all things shall be known among them. And when these things come forth, they shall confound the hearsay and the speculations and the theories and the misinterpretations of men who have not given the truth of these things according to the spirit of the power. And according to the spirit of the power, a man may know the truth of all things, 100% of the truth, and have the mysteries of the power given unto him. And now, my beloved brothers and sisters, even all those unto whom this record shall come, the words that are written herein are true. And they shall teach you the truth regarding many of the events that occurred during the history of the earth. Nevertheless, I cannot include all things herein, for there is not space upon the plates which my Father and I have made for this purpose, or I have none. Therefore, the things that I write are according to the abridgment that I have taken from the words of the brother Jared. And I write the things that the Spirit whispered unto me to write. Just like a lot of things I've said to you, the Spirit is whispered to me. And what the Spirit shall command me, that shall I write. He also talks about is when a prophet hears from the Spirit, it is the same as the gospel because it's coming from the same Spirit. But it ain't going to take you somewhere far off than what the word has already revealed. You can still precept it. And I know that there are those among you who would that I write the names of the peoples and places and times and events according to the language that you understand, but these things are not important to the end for which Yahweh has commanded these things to be written. For what is called a name by one people might be called differently by another. And therefore, these things can cause contention among you. That's kind of what the lady was telling me the other day at the hamburger place. But then I took her back to, I said, okay, whatever you call him, he still got to be the God of Israel. That don't change. And the things that are written upon these plates should be written to bring to pass your salvation, which salvation can only come in and through the words of that Christ that is given unto you, that Messiah. Nevertheless, by reading the accounts of the history of the children of men, you shall begin to see the importance of the words of Christ, Messiah. I'm saying Christ, because that's what's written there, which he has given unto us. And you shall begin to realize why it is necessary that we abide by them. And this is the purpose of these things, and there shall be no other purpose given for them. So there you have it. Straight off the presses. All praises to the Most High. All praises to his holy name. All praises, because he says, I place my word above my own name. That's what he said. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He places the word above his own name, therefore you can trust his word. All praises to his holy name.